The movie kicks off in this tiny old town where a worn-out performer named Fulbert Freakfinder is out in the street yelling up at everyone's apartment. He's begging folks to come watch his big scary monster show. He's got torches lit, smoke blowing around, drums beating, the whole dramatic vibe like he's about to unleash nightmares. But the moment the curtains open, the whole thing falls apart. His terrifying monsters turn out to be nothing but regular dudes wearing oversized rubber masks and thrift store claws. The crowd can literally see the zippers on their backs. One by one, people just roll their eyes and walk away. Parents drag their kids home, teens laugh, old folks mumble that they've got laundry scarier than this. And right there in the middle of the street, Fulbert's whole life just kinda collapses. This is his job, his dream, his whole identity, and it's sinking. He drops into this sad little slump thinking, great, I'm broke, washed up, and completely unscary. But from behind him, a tiny voice says his act isn't scary at all because this town has already seen something way worse. A girl named Arabella steps out of the shadows like she's revealing the secret of the century. She points toward the massive, dark, creepy castle up on the hill, Castle Grotesco, where, according to legend, real monsters live. The kind that never let a human walk back out alive. Meanwhile, inside that castle, a wild experiment is happening. A mad professor, the type who looks like he hasn't slept in 40 years, is in his lab getting ready to unveil his newest creature. He's got sparks flying everywhere, machines humming, bubbling tubes of glowing green liquid. And helping him through the chaos is his very first creation ever, Stitchhead. Stitchhead isn't some loud, roaring monster. He's small, stitched together, kind of shy, and always stressed. But this dude knows the professor's whole system like the back of his stitched-up hand. The professor flips the switch, the animator machine fires up, lightning rips across the ceiling, and boom! The new monster wakes up roaring like it wants to smash through every wall in the castle. The professor runs toward it trying to welcome his new child, and instantly gets tossed around like a rag doll. Stitchhead jumps in. He does what he always does when a fresh monster comes to life. He draws a giant X on the wall. For some reason, every monster instinctively follows it like a trail. So Stitchhead leads the confused new creature out of the lab to calm it down. He explains the usual list of startup problems: dizziness, blurry vision, constipation, occasional huge rampages, casual monster side effects. Then Stitchhead pushes him into a washing machine contraption for a monster-style bath, takes him to a comfy room, sits him in a big chair with popcorn, and plays an orientation video. The video basically says, hey, you're a monster, but acting like one can get us all killed. Below the castle sits the town, and if monsters ever ran loose down there, the humans would probably form an angry mob, storm the castle, and burn everything to dust. So this new creature needs to stay calm, quiet, and hidden. After watching the video, all that monster rage disappears, and he's suddenly gentle and nervous. Stitchhead gives him a full tour of the castle and introduces him to the other monsters. All very unique, all created by the professor. A giant shark monster asks for a bedtime story, so Stitchhead reads one to the whole group until they all drift off snoring. The new creation sees how careful Stitchhead is with everyone and figures he must be the professor's favorite. But Stitchhead corrects him. Truth is, the professor is obsessed with new monsters. He barely even notices Stitchhead at all. Later that night, Stitchhead visits the professor to say goodnight, but the man doesn't even hear him. He's already deep into planning his next big creature. The next morning, something terrifying happens. A knock. No monster in the castle has ever heard a knock on the door before. They immediately panic. The angry mob must have arrived. Stitchhead inches toward the giant wooden doors, slowly peeks outside, and it's just Fulbert Freakfinder, smiling and waving like he's handing out free hot dogs. Stitchhead refuses to open up, but Fulbert doesn't give up. He's desperately pitching ideas about show business, fame, money, entertainment. Eventually, Stitchhead steps out just to shut him up. The moment Fulbert sees Stitchhead clearly, his jaw drops. This is exactly the kind of monster his career needs. Before he can finish trying to explain that the audience will adore Stitchhead, Stitchhead shoves him off the bridge out of pure panic. But those words, "people will love you," stay stuck in Stitchhead's mind. Back in his room, he uses his tiny telescope to peek down at the town and sees Arabella waving toward the castle. Apparently, she's been spying on them for a long time. He tells the professor about Fulbert's offer, explaining that someone wants him to join a circus act. But the professor doesn't even look up. He just keeps working on the next creation like Stitchhead isn't even there. And that hurts deeper than Stitchhead wants to admit. That night, Fulbert sneaks into the castle using a floating balloon like some discount circus burglar. And this time Stitchhead says yes. He joins Fulbert's crew. The other monsters beg him not to go, but Stitchhead tells them they have to learn to handle things without him. They let him go, even though it breaks them a little. At sunset, panic breaks out inside the castle. It's bedtime, and they don't have Stitchhead to read them stories. The new creation tries, but he's terrible at it. And just like that, it's clear, Stitchhead wasn't just their guide. He was their parent figure. Meanwhile, Fulbert and his team cover Stitchhead from head to toe and smuggle him into their caravan. The moment they get inside, Fulbert locks him in a cage and says, "Showtime." He tries to advertise another performance to the townsfolk, but everyone ignores him after last night's disaster. That is, until he mentions he has an actual monster from Castle Grotescu. That flips everything. People pay real money, crowding around the caravan, desperate for a peek. One by one, they scream at the sight of Stitchhead, and Fulbert rakes in more money than he's ever seen. Arabella keeps trying to get in, but her mom won't let her go anywhere near a real monster. Back at the castle, the new creation feels guilty. He thinks Stitchhead left because of something he said, so he gathers the monsters and declares he's going to the town to bring Stitchhead back home. That night, after Fulbert's crew finishes celebrating their big earnings, Arabella sneaks into the caravan at midnight. Stitchhead tries to scare her. He thinks that's what earns love now, but she just stares at him like he's being weird. She's not scared at all. She just wants answers. Who created him? Why is he here? What's happening? Fulbert barges in and nearly explodes with anger because she didn't pay. The next night, Stitchhead performs in this dramatic show with Fulbert's crew. Full spotlight, action, fake battles, and the crowd goes wild. Stitchhead is convinced the people adore him. Arabella, though, sees the truth. His hand gets ripped open during the show, and nobody cares. They only care that he looks scary. She stitches him back together and he shows her the souvenir bottle openers with his face on them. In his mind, this proves people love him. Then the new creation finally finds him, but freaks out at the sight of Arabella, because in the castle training videos, humans equal danger. Stitchhead hides them both in his room. Fulbert bursts in, suspicious, but Stitchhead pretends he was just practicing being monstrous. Fulbert orders his crew to guard the caravan. If Stitchhead escapes, they're all fired. But after a few minutes, they realize the whole caravan is gone. Stitchhead and the others snuck it away. The new creation warns Stitchhead again that humans can form angry mobs any second. But Stitchhead refuses to believe it. Humans love him now. He doesn't want to be rescued. He tells the new creature that the monsters back home need to grow up and take care of themselves. Then he sends him away. Arabella leads Stitchhead through town where everyone swarms him, begging for selfies, autographs, grabbing his hands. He feels like a celebrity. She hides him in her room, where he sees drawings of every single monster from his castle plastered all over her walls. She's been fascinated by them forever. He tells her about the new creation who sees Stitchhead as his best friend. But to Stitchhead, what matters now is that the people adore him. But Fulbert? He's hurt. He thinks Stitchhead ditched him, stole the spotlight, and ran off to take all the fame and money. Still, Stitchhead returns for one last show. A huge one, the kind that could make Fulbert thousands of gold coins. The show kicks off with Stitchhead playing a bloodthirsty monster while Fulbert's crew plays the heroes. But suddenly Stitchhead notices his arms are literally tearing apart. He begs them for help, but his teammates don't care. The whole thing was designed to rip him to pieces for the crowd. Right then, the new creation crashes into the scene to save Stitchhead. The audience screams and runs. People drop their snacks, knock over chairs, scream their lungs out, and sprint in every direction. And in all that chaos, the fire spreads like crazy. Fulbert's show turns into a total disaster. Flames everywhere, smoke rising, people running for their lives. But while everyone panics, the new creation only focuses on one thing: saving Stitchhead. He scoops Stitchhead up from the collapsing stage and carries him out of the fire like some heroic giant toddler who doesn't fully understand what's going on but knows his friend is in danger. They make it out just in time as the whole performance area goes up in flames behind them. But Fulbert Freak Finder? Oh, he's not done causing trouble. While Stitchhead is being carried off to safety, Fulbert snatches Arabella. He throws a sack over her like she's stolen treasure and drags her back toward his caravan. When Arabella refuses to cooperate, he threatens her with losing all her monster secrets unless she talks. Terrified for Stitchhead and desperate to protect the castle monsters, she accidentally slips, saying the professor created many creatures just like Stitchhead. Fulbert's eyes widen, sparkling with pure greed. A whole castle full of monsters? To him, that's not danger, that's a lifetime jackpot. Immediately, he hatches a plan that's even dirtier than his last. He storms into the middle of the town square, ringing bells and shouting at the top of his lungs like some sort of bargain store revolutionary leader. He tells the townspeople that he's done being scared, and they should be too. He claims monsters have finally crossed the line. They've kidnapped Arabella. They're coming for the humans next, and the only way to survive is to form a brave, heroic, angry mob. He waves his hands, jumps on carts, and screams about taking back the night until he has the whole village fired up. People who were scared 5 minutes ago now grab pitchforks, pans, and torches. They want revenge for something that never even happened. Meanwhile, the truth is hidden inside a sack in Fulbert's caravan. Arabella tied up, scared, and completely helpless. Back at Castle Grotesque, the new creation arrives carrying the beat-up Stitchhead. The moment the other monsters see him, they rush over with absolute relief. They hug him, drool on him, crowd around him. They're just happy he's alive. Stitchhead apologizes through his broken stitches. He admits he left the castle because he wanted to feel loved, wanted people to cheer for him, clap for him, recognize him. But in chasing that love, he abandoned the creatures who actually cared about him from day one. The monsters tell him straight, they do love him. They always have. Their warm group hug gets interrupted by a sound that makes all of them freeze. The angry mob is coming. They see Fulbert's caravan rolling across a human bridge, villagers literally lying on the ground so Fulbert can ride over them like some twisted king. The torches behind him look like a river of fire flowing toward the castle. The monsters panic. They hide behind each other, shaking like giant toddlers in a thunderstorm. But Stitchhead steps forward and tells them what he learned in town. People are scared of monsters. You just have to let your monstrous side out. They just have to be who they were created to be. But the moment the mob breaks through the front doors, the monsters instantly forget all that motivation and bolt in the opposite direction. They scatter around the castle, screeching and panicking. Stitchhead throws together a last-minute plan. He leads the mob through hallways, fake corridors, and trap rooms, until he finally corners everyone in the castle's theater room. There, he shoves the monsters onto the stage and plays a clip on the giant projector. The video shows classic monster behaviors, roaring, stomping, snarling, and explains how humans fear monsters only when monsters actually act monstrous. The monsters finally snap into character. They unleash their real monstrous selves, roaring, smashing, drooling, stomping around like they were born to scare. The angry mob, who came in confident and loud, instantly becomes the screaming chicken crowd. Now they are the ones sprinting around the castle in fear. Fulbert, watching his team lose control, snaps. He fires his crew, calls them useless, and reveals his real plan. Forget capturing monsters. He wants the professor, the one who makes the monsters. Because that's where the real gold is. Fulbert sneaks toward the professor's lab. Just as he's about to grab him, Stitchhead jumps in and slams the lab door, locking Fulbert inside with him. Fulbert tries to escape through the window, panicking. Stitchhead quickly flips switches, pushes levers, and activates the animator machine. Electric sparks fly, tubes bubble, lights flash. A brand new monster rises from the table with a roar so powerful the whole lab shakes. Fulbert's face drops. This is the moment he realizes he messed with the wrong castle. The monster snatches him up effortlessly and devours him like he's a bite-sized snack. No dramatic speech, no last words, just chomp. Fulbert Freakfinder is gone. Outside, the villagers finally learn the truth. Arabella tells them she wasn't kidnapped by monsters at all. Fulbert's crew grabbed her. She tells them the monsters were scared of them, not the other way around. The villagers finally lower their torches and apologize. And the monsters, being soft-hearted despite their teeth and claws, forgive them. Stitchhead, still falling apart and injured from the whole ordeal, collapses. For the first time in ages, the professor finally notices him, not just as a creation, but as someone who's been by his side since the beginning. The professor kneels beside him, touching his shoulder gently. He whispers all their names, every monster he ever made. He remembers them. He cares. He regrets not appreciating Stitchhead sooner. Then he rushes off to gather needles and tools to repair him. And for the first time in his life, Stitchhead feels real love. Not from a crowd, not from strangers, but from family. The monsters gather around him, relieved. The castle is safe again. The town is at peace. And Stitchhead finally understands where he truly belongs. And that's how the story wraps up.